dare I say it was pretty amazing? What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here for fat. Have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, here we are for me to give you my thoughts on the final episode of The Amazing Digital Circus. The Amazing Digital Circus last act. Yeah, I went and saw it in the theaters. Saw it for the cheap, thankfully, because jeez. But ultimately, I do have thoughts. Obviously, massive spoilers for the finale is obviously not out on the regular platforms it usually releases on just yet. So feel free to run away if you do not want discussion of that. But this is the last spoiler warning. Ready, get ready. I'm about to start the 15-minute timer. The second I start the 15-minute timer, it's gonna be too late. So you don't let me get it. Don't be, if you don't want to be spoiled right away. Ready. Okay, where is it? Here we go. Okay. First thing I do want to address, as a person who did go out of his way to go see it in theaters, was it movie worthy? Was it like theaters worthy? I'm gonna be honest from the bottom of my left big toe. No. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to cheat. Now. You may be like, whoa. Pencil Man, which indeed I am. What do you mean it wasn't theater worthy? I mean, like, it really wasn't theater worthy. Like, I do not like if you have to see it at full price, it does see it at full price. Wait. And honestly, at least for me, I guess because I'm not like super fandom pilled, my social media hasn't, like, I didn't see any spoilers. I just heard it was leaked. And I didn't even get any context for that. I heard people didn't like it, the ending. But that was it. That was the most context I got. And then not even like, I didn't block any channels. I didn't do anything. Still say subscribe to all the channels that do create content on Digital Circus. Just didn't get spoiled. Hopefully, I'm not the one spoiling anything. Once again, I'm not even the thumbnail's gonna be super vague anyway. There's gonna be a bunch of stuff. But regardless, I don't really think it was theater worthy. I get why they had to add on episode 8. And admittedly, the last act part itself was a lot longer than I thought it would be. But I don't think it's movie worthy. I don't think it's theaters worthy. I get it. It's a great thing for indie animation. Fine. I just don't know. I don't know. Like, you could have done better if that was going to be what you're going to do. But ultimately, I think it wasn't theater worthy because I don't think it was meant to be in theaters. I think they were just given the opportunity to put it in the theaters and then did. Like, I don't think, I genuinely don't think it was planned to be in theaters. I think it was planned to just be maybe a longer finale episode, and that's literally it. But that aside from it being in theaters or not, hopping into the actual content of the final episode itself, I'll say this. I think, and notably, this is purely my thoughts, I waited a day to record it just to think a little bit longer about it. It has a happy ending. And I'm assuming a lot of people don't like that it has a happy ending. And, to be fair, that's a big assumption. And even one of the people I saw it with didn't like it because it was a happy ending. And admittedly, I would say that I understand where that sentiment comes from, but at the same time, I do generally understand the kind of I'm not gonna say I understand as in I'm literally Gooseworks. I know what they were going for, but like I understand the kind of narrative that they were trying to push for. And funnily enough, it does directly mirror its inspirations a whole lot in the sense that everyone else gets to be free or liberated from their prison while one person stays trapped in a prison of their own making, kind of, sort of. It's very overall funky. Let me address the big thing out front. Jack's focus. Yeah. It was that poster that initially leaked, like Raptor was announced it's gonna be in theaters. Yeah, accurate. I'm not sure how long it is. Like I said, I saw it once. Not gonna go back and see it again. I'll watch it again once it finally comes out in the regular platforms. But I feel like it was a solid like 30-ish minutes. Like it was a lot. And don't get me wrong, I did like what we got. I do think ultimately the characterization for Jax is great and wonderful. And I do like the layers that it adds to the character, or the layers that it confirmed, right? Because I'll admit, a good chunk of it was like kind of picked out by the fandom, but there were unique touches and extra details and interactions and parts of it that I actually really liked and made Jax feel really unique. And I do like the aspects of play, and specifically the scene of Pomni not necessarily reaching the real true Jax deep inside the depths of his form that I'll talk about. I actually do really like that point. That's the thing. I do need to watch it again, but no, I'm not playing in the theaters to watch it again. But with that being the case, I like the idea of Pomni seeing all the different sides of Jax, not just in the literal sides of Jax that make manifest inside that one room, but very specifically how his brain has like compartmentalized his feelings about all the different characters, or all the different, no, I guess in this case, literally characters in the circus and how he feels about them. And ultimately, as unfortunate as it is for Kinger, I do like that he didn't really have an opinion on Kinger. He didn't really have an opinion on, well, it's weird to say he didn't really have an opinion on Pomni because we kind of got to see that. I don't know, but essentially, I like seeing that. I like getting deeper depths of certain characters. I like the backstory. I like the history. And I do like the one thing that one of my friends that I watched it with complained about, but I actually did like. I do like how Jax kept actively making the same mistake over and over and over again. And seemingly even acknowledged that it was a mistake, but was like too heavily committed to the bit that ultimately Ribbit gave him on the idea of like, hey, as long as no one comes and gets me from this place and it isn't real, that means my mom is still alive. I don't have to worry about the possible guilt of that, this, that, and the third. All that's good. All that's really, really good stuff. Of course, though, it does kind of... I'm not going to say it makes every other character fucking hollow. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. But man, it is unfortunate that since he is such like a galvanizing nexus point, it does sort of leave the other characters kind of where they are. Like, Zubul got over their body dysmorphia off-screen-ish, kind of, sort of. Okay. Gangle had a fantastic one. I like how ultimately, initially, she didn't cry for him, but then, like, after connecting, kind of, sort of, she finally got the tears, and she didn't really understand that. Like, that was good. That was good. Wish there was more of it. Wish there was more of it. That's the other main thing, right? Like, because it's so heavily Jax focused, and it makes sense, right? Gooseworks already acknowledged that Jax and Pomni are the main characters, but the one thing I'll unfortunately say about this, since it's so heavily focused on Jax, I don't really feel like Pomni is the main character in the general sense. And once again, I may have, once the final episode's out, I'm going to do all rewatch of the series, this, then the third. So, Jax focus, very heavy. Like what it does for Jax as a character. Understand why it happened in the way that it did. Jax, one artistic choice that I really, really like, even if it did lead to Super Jax focus for like half an hour, is specifically, I do like the idea that Jax abstracting was something that they could have stopped. And Jax himself could have stopped. But, like, he just went and did it. And notably, we go from him just walking away one scene, and then he's abstracted the next, and they're all hiding from him, this and the third. That's great. I actually really like that. So all that's good. All that's fine. I like the character work. I do think I'm not gonna disagree with the common fandom because it's yeah, the over centralization on Jack makes a lot of the other characters in their arcs and their progressions feel sort of like there. And some characters don't even have them, right? Like I guess King's whole arc is that he permanently gets the sanity back. Great. Like, one thing I'll admit, like, despite how many answers that this final thing either just flat out gives us or hardline confirmed, like the idea that they're all copies, this, that, and the third, I don't think it's weird. We never really get an explanation for why Kinger was the way Kinger was. I kind of thought we were expecting that. I may have missed it. There's, like, another piece later on in terms of, like, the real life stuff that I'll get into in terms of, I want to know what the interpretation is on that. I probably should have looked it up before recording my thoughts here, but still, I want to make my thoughts all as pure as possible. But, other thing I do want to mention, the return of Kane. I'm very 50-50 on this. I'm 50-50 on it because I do like it. I think ultimately I've fallen down the fandom rabbit hole enough that I've consumed enough Kane defense videos where I'm like, we can make it work. But in that case, in that very same case, and I do even like specifically how he like had to do his own thing in order to reach a point where he could reconnect in the first place, right? Very specifically, I like the scene where he goes to make the cube and then another cube, and like the first cube manages to stay stable and the second cube kind of sort of does, but then once he tries to make a third, it fails, and then he needs to start making his own unique shapes. He needs to start creating in his own way in order to actually reach the point where he can reconnect and evolve beyond his station as a limited creation and connect to the Wi-Fi and reach through and understand everything. That's all great. But I don't know. I feel like it does. It works. It works. I think it works. My thing I don't like, I wish Kane underwent some sort of visual design change from removing his brother that he ate. I'm fine with the brother being alive in him. It's all like very metaphorical / code stuff. I just kind of just how that should work. So like that's fine, but I wish he like got a design change. I wish we got to see anything from the blue AI other than the blue dot. And I'm also kind of confused. Did anyone like in that last scene at the end of the movie where Kane places what looks like a copy of his brother in a box and seals him away? Like that's not actually the real one, right? The real one went off to do his own thing. Speaking of things doing their own thing, another weird thing and like open-ended stuff that's fine, you know, we don't need every answer, but darn, it confused me. That new circus that Cade made and then just popped the new copy of Scratch into, is that guy alone forever? Like, especially since the whole point of the narrative is like, even though these people aren't real, that doesn't mean you shouldn't care for them or they don't deserve their own rights or autonomy or should be respected as beings. But like, is he okay? Like, the Kane did extract the file and upload him on a stage in a copy of the Circus and kind of just left him. I hope he's alright. Is he gonna go inside and extract again? I guess, I don't know. And speaking of things that do feel a little bit, I mean, no, I'll say this. Jack's not coming back is something that one of the people I saw it with was very unhappy about. But I do think it's, one, implied that Jax would come back eventually based on how they reached out to him. And two, very specifically, I do like the idea that there is some cost. I mentioned earlier how it does actually mirror the ending of the rewrite of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Because at the end of the initial, they all fail. But at the end of the rewrite, even if it is still dark, everyone gets liberated by the sacrifice of one character. And obviously, like, no one's really liberated by Jax going off and abstracting, but, like, regardless, they were able to... They're all happy Jax is in a tent. All that's fine. I like the parallels there. But the other thing that feels... that I do like. I think I'm more positive on this than I am negative. I do like that even in the real world, that now that the whole brain copies thing, shout out to everyone who called Summer Theory. Y'all good like that. Couldn't have been your boy. I got there too late. But with that being the case... I am glad that all the real versions of them are living well. I think a detail I really like is that they don't really know each other. Like they accidentally coexist, but they have no real connection and link. Obviously, you have that scene at the end where they're all sitting on the bus together, and I jokingly said to my friend, I was like, "Oh, I bet the bus driver's Kane or whatever." But this, then the third. I do like that. I like that they're all successful. I like they're all happy. I like the happy ending in general, right? And let me talk about that specifically, because I've sort of talked about, like, the character focus and how it leaves certain characters behind and this, that, and the third. But the happy ending versus, like, a more, I don't want to just say downer, but, like, a more darker ending. Does it fit the overall thematics of the show? Yeah. I don't know. Don't get me wrong, I understand why my friend and others probably wanted a darker ending, but I don't think much would have been gained by that. Like, I'm not saying it was impossible, but, like, every single episode typically ends with, like, a resolution towards the positive with some cost, and this final episode and the, by proxy, the series ends that way too. A cost and some negativity, but with a positive resolution. I think if we were to pay a whole lot of cost, aka the entire series, and then end very deeply, darkly negative, I don't think that'd be a good thing. And I do think the whole thematics of, or the core theme of the Digital Circus is probably twofold. One, emotions are very complex, and it's okay to struggle with them. But two, people are important no matter who they are, where they are, how they are, and one must cherish the interactions and bonds that they have with those people. And three, even if things aren't real, that doesn't mean you should disregard them. Those are, like, the three core themes. And notably, the one thing, and I came to the defense of the finale over this, when my friend said, well, everything was good in the end. Not necessarily, right? Obviously, while we know the fate of all the real people in the real world are happy, Jax is still technically abstracted and will probably be stuck like that for a while. Who knows how long in universe, considering he doesn't actually appear in any of the, like, fancy 2D end credit stuff. But he just doesn't show up. So, like, he's still abstracted, at least for that point in the canon. And then on top of that, it does seem like they kind of just gave up on the rest of the abstractions. Sure, they built them like a fish tank, but it doesn't seem like Queenie or Scratch or any of the actual copies came back. So Scratch, the guy who created the brain scanning aspect of the Amazing Digital Circus, he just gets stuck there forever. It doesn't look like they're going to try to revive them, which may be too dangerous. Maybe they've been distracted for too long. There's that. So overall, I still think it is ultimately a bittersweet ending, but heavier on the sweet. And I think that fits the overarching thematics. I think it fits everything that was established. And I'm not saying it would have been impossible to write a darker ending and still make it feel satisfying, but I think it would have been weird. Not bad weird, but it would have been weird. And I'm fine with it being more positive. For the unanswered questions by the end of it all, like the nature, like what is the final call on Jax, the nature of the remaining abstractions, how abstraction, like, works, like, was Jax only able to be reached in the way he was reached by Pomni because of, like, how recently he abstracted? Could they do that with all of them? I don't know. How, like Kane's less power, like, what happened to the other AI? I don't know. How does the, like, apparently, as my friend explained it to me, Kane connected to, like, a nearby cafe, I guess. Like, I still don't really fully get how the reconnection thing worked. I don't know how the servers are still running in an abandoned building. Like, there's still some, like, foundational, hey, this is what the narrative is built on, that kind of doesn't make sense. But I think ultimately, from a character perspective, the narrative works, the thematics of the narrative work, and the costs paid by the narrative to get to this thematic endpoint all does work. So overall, if I had to give the movie as a movie experience, I'd probably give it like a 6. It was nice to hear Michael Kovac sing. Cool. It was nice to hear that in theaters specifically, but like the rest of it, it's fine. Parrish, I don't know what you're doing there, but outside of that, nah. But overall, like specifically disregarding the theater experience, just looking at it as an episode, I think for how much it did go into Jax in the fantastic voice acting throughout and the fantastic use of dynamics and character work there, like I think I'd probably give it like an overall. I mean, I don't really. Nah, I think the character, I'd probably give it like a 7, 7.5, maybe an 8 on a good day. But I am out of time, so please let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Did you guys, if you saw the finale, I assume if you made it all the way here, you probably did. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What would you change about it? What questions that are lingering would you want to see answered? I mean, obviously, I don't think we're really getting any answers. Maybe most are probably getting his AMAs, but even then, I doubt that. But regardless, please let me know in the comment section down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave the amazing digital ending. The amazing digital ending in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure that little notification so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you can have a page down below. Use word me for as well as one to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. Also, now become a member of the channel for as well as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Those perks include the live reactions, so this is to review, ad reactions of all my videos, early ad free access to all my videos, early ad free access not just on my videos on the main channel, but all my videos on the second channel that got the reaction. Link in the description down below, and in the card in the upper right hand corner. On top of that, I do have a link to my Ko-Fi down below. You can drop 5 short video, 2 weeks on video, or any beats at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. And I want to thank you so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil, writing off. Alright, lady, but thank you to our sketch tier members: Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, J2MA, Buddha Ura, Yuki Ally, Grim, Ollie, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Tim Thomas, Kaving, RXN, Dead Me, Keon Stewart, Edwin Ingbignoba, Straw, Intavius Mitchell, Superflame Zero, Weary Exile, Alex Kenny, Todd, The Practical One, Landon Clapwick, Heath Nelson, CAET, Plant Crone, Brandon Payne, Multi-Batman Superman, Zalim, Sleep In John, Mo City King DKG, Akolade Babatunde, Union I, Atenzi Shear, Sino King, CCC, Enzo, Kitty Liddy, Axis XZ, Praise the Sun, Magic, Andrine Bonnet, at JDog2656, Sheesh King, Yo Extras, AZ Void, Professor Von Tuck III, Nevies97, Black Sage, Sky XT, Felix, The Young Family Pastel Pandora, John Malcolm, Donovan McIntosh, and Black Doctor Strange. Then, let's give a thank you to our line art tier patrons: A+A, Kevin Encarnacion, Lucas Stace, Midnight Lord 21, and Sean. Then, let's give a thank you to our Ink tier member, Shrimpo the Fourth Shrimp 06. I'd like to give another thank you to our digital art tier member, Jay Warrior. I'd like to give a final thank you to our colored art tier patrons, Walking Minnows and Walking